Yuppie, yuppie, yuppie. It's One Funny Morning. I'm Dana Blizzard, and it's too early in the morning. This is the dumbest show in the whole world.
From Monday
to Friday. Sometimes on Saturdays.
Why would you say that in front of all these people?
Dean stinks.
You never know what's gonna happen.
That's your Dateline voice?
I don't know.
It wasn't good.
It wasn't.
It's not a chicken leg. This is a chicken leg.
Look at that manhole cover on my face.
Not a bad rendition of me. Hold on.
We know your brother. We'll give you a ride to school or whatever.
That's called
our
murder
stuff.
in New Jersey.
He was a lot
Like what is?
with his everything.
Oh,
What's outside your Puerta de Clima?
that's Stella. Yeah.
Hi, this is Kathy Jetski from Hamtramck, Michigan, at beautiful Comerica Park, home of the Detroit Tigers, getting ready for Game 4 of the ALDS against the Cleveland Indians. Just want to welcome you to the show and send it back to our BIC, Dina Blizzard. Go Tigers!
I love it. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, hold on. My TikTok's not ready. I just realized I didn't set it up. Good morning. Good morning. That's too high. Whatever. I'll just go live. How is everybody? It's Monday. I wasn't ready for Monday because I worked all weekend. And so I might have slept in a little, which if I'm late. So here we are. So let's just be happy we all made it to Monday, because that's where I'm coming from. Yeah, what's going on in baseball? Because I have been out of it, and I don't know who's playing and who's left. Still in bed. Meredith, I wish that was me. It's Monday, y'all. It's Ugly Monday. We made it. Taking medicine. My stomach hurts. Anytime I've been traveling, I come home and my stomach hurts. So you have to excuse me. Here's to a good week ahead. Dodgers, Mets in the World Series. That has it happened ever, or it happened like one time? Like it never happens, right? Senior night at soccer tonight. Bring the tissues. Yankees. Wait, then you're confusing me. Okay. Where are the Dodgers from? Los Angeles Dodgers. Hold on, it's New York Yankees. New York Mets. So the Dodgers are from Detroit. No. Yankees, New York Yankees. And the LA, thank you. Los Angeles, okay. All right. So then I was right the first time. Have the Yankees and Mets ever played? Ever? I feel like played one time. Dean and I just talked about it because for a real Subway World Series, but it's not meant to be. Dean and I just talked about it because now that they're in Brooklyn, they've been going to games up there. You know, they've been Philly kids their whole lives. And oh yes, we have such right. It was the Subway Series. What does that mean? You could take the subway to. I honestly don't know why we have two. They have two. We all. Listen, I'm going to say just in general, I don't understand a lot of stuff when it comes to how they pick sports. Like they'll say like, this is the New York something, but they practice in New Jersey. I'm like, okay, then it's the New Jersey. No, it's not. You're like, it is though. The Yankees played the Mets in 2000. Got it. Yeah. A Subway series. Did they call it the Subway series because you could just take the subway from one to the other? Like, yeah. Yeah. And then we were just talking about how I guess somebody's trying to buy one of the NFL teams. And in order to get to like buy an NFL series, which I'm sure many of you have considered, that all the other teams in the NFL have to agree that you should be able to buy it. Mm-hmm. New York Giants and Jets not only practice, but they play in New Jersey in the Meadowlands. Thank you, Kathy. Now, explain to me why they're not called the New Jersey Giants and the New Jersey Jets. Girl, do you know how this works? How you gonna keep calling yourself something, but you over here? Sarah Soon. It's that wall right there. I just have to get it together. I knew I was going to be out, so I didn't get a chance to do it. Mm-hmm. There is a vote to permit you to buy. That doesn't make any explanation. My son just performed in that scene for the marching band. Yeah. So I enjoy sports like this. Oh. And I only really like it when we're at the very end, like Super Bowl. That I'm like, oh, who has the prettier colors like that? I don't have. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Shakendra. She has considered buying an NFL team. She just didn't want to go through the whole voting thing because it just seems like a popularity contest. So she was like, I'm going to pass. Same thing happened. Tom Brady just fought 5% of the rate. 5% of the rate. It was like two guys. He's like, I just bought these two fellas. They're mine. How much for one? How much for half of one? How much for half of one? How do you buy 5% for 300 million? 700 million? It means that it's worth a cajillion dollars. I wish I was good at math. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's a lot of weird stuff with sports. Like, why do some states have two teams, but some have none at all? Exactly. I'll go hands with you. I got $250. You guys, Shakendra and Jeremy now own the third chair in row 217. That's their chair. They own it. Mm-hmm. Couldn't even buy the water boy. Yeah. You know that guy Joe that works in the waffle station? That's who Shakendra and Jeremy are working with now. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If we pulled all of our monies together, we could afford to like maybe work the popcorn stand for free. We'd all put our money together, raise $100 million. Mm-hmm. I thought it was 5% of a 10% of a group share. Anne Marie, I don't know what you're saying at all. I don't know what you're saying. Hola, Mooney. Yeah, no. So I'm a jumper on border. I imagine it's very similar to like years ago. Like, you know, when you would watch the Miss America pageant when it was on TV and it was cool. That's when I was in it. And nobody paid any attention to how those girls got on stage. But the night of Miss America, it was a big deal. Remember, you would sit down and you just wait for your stage to pop up. Be like, oh, please make her be pretty. Please don't make her look like she got one eye. Just please. You know what I'm saying? It's like that, but with sports. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to put our money together. We're going to buy the parking spot for 2 blocks down. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. What's your topic? We don't know, Denise. We started out talking about sports, which is very odd for us. Mm-hmm. Yeah, here in KC, you can't even get a parking spot without a ticket. Yeah. We went to an event about getting a season pass for the Mets, and it was about $2,000 for 2 seats for 10 games in the 300 section. Stop. She literally walked away. She walked away. Walk away. Walk away. Don't get in with him. He is not a good influence. Colby, take it down. I know. Of course you can. There you go, shuffling by. I feel like when Colby walks by with his shuffle, some music should play that would just go waka 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 like that. That was a pretty good rendition of like a 1920s something. Anyway, so we had a busy weekend. Busy. Last time I talked to you was Friday. Was I here? I don't remember. Normally we're on the road, but I think I was here. Oh my gosh. So Friday, we got to hop a train to Detroit. We get on the plane, completely uneventful, which is exactly what you're looking for in a flight. I don't want anything exciting happening. I don't want a story. I want everybody to just be quiet and get us to where we're going fine. We do it. We're on our way. Okay, I don't know if you guys know this. And take this for what it is. And you can adapt this for your own trips, but whenever we're traveling as a show, now this time, if you hadn't heard, it was the four of us. It was Jacqueline, myself. Let me see if I can pull a picture up. Jacqueline was joining us for the first time. And hold on. Let me see if I can. No, it's not gonna let me. Hold on. I'm using my thinking face. Hold on. I can do that, and then I can do that, and then I can do this, and then I can do this, and then we add this, and then we go here. Okay. All right, I'll show you this. So for the first time ever, Jacqueline Blizzard joined us on a I Love You Get Away From Me trip, and we had a lot of fun. Okay. Doesn't want to find this picture. Sorry. What in the world? I know I just put it there. Hold on. All right. Okay. Now this is my mad work face. Oh, I know why. Do you guys ever get the pictures and they're HEIC? You guys know what I'm talking about? And it's like real annoying because you can't do anything with it. You know what I'm talking about? The high, I don't know. But that's why it didn't show up. Now I'm ready. So here was a picture from this past weekend. It was the first time that Jacqueline, so funny, Missy, I know. She was joining us on tour. Oh, look at us. This is all of us right before we're about to go out on stage. Everybody looks so good. We had a great time. Thanks, Tony. Were you there? I know. It was great. Yeah, you never know, Jan. You never know who's going to show up for these tours now. So we are. Oh, look who's on the couch back there. Look, I just put a blanket down because I'm done fighting her. It's her couch. Who am I kidding? So is Pete Lee here? Let me see if he's here. I don't know if I pushed the button or not. Pete, if you're here, come say hi. I don't know if I invited you or not. Now I'm like inviting him like 7 times. I don't know. It doesn't tell you if I hit the button correctly. Anyway, so we're driving. We get all the way out there. Oh, I would love to see you, Michael. See you in Wausau. Wausau is next. So whatever. It was fine. The flight was fine. We go to the rental car place. Okay. Tell me, this is AITA. You guys know what that means. Okay, here's what happened. Let me map it out for you because we had 3 real different reactions. So we get off the plane. Now you got to go downstairs to catch the shuttle bus to get over to the car rental place. There are 5 elevators. They are spread out in a row like this. The 4 of us. Now, when I say it's the 4 of us, I say I'm in the front and I'm yelling back, don't let grandma carry her own bags. And so then I scream back at 2 children and they're trying to help my mom. My mom's got a bag that doesn't close, so snacks are falling over the place. It's like a mother duck with just a whole bunch of people waddling behind her. Okay. So we get to this elevator to take us downstairs to get the shuttle. 5 elevators across. There's these 2 girls who Jacqueline believes are sisters. One sister has a baby and there's a mom. So they got a crew and they got a stroller. They got the car seat, right? I've been that girl. I know what that looks like. I'm not paying attention. You're just blocking like 3 of the elevators. They had all their stuff lined up. Fine. You're not bothering me. I'll just move around you. I don't care, right? Elevator comes. Somebody gets in with like a big thing of luggage, right? They get into the elevator. Now, keep in mind, AITA. I don't think so. Somebody gets in with a whole bunch of luggage. Now, these girls have blocked the entry to 3 of the elevators. Then now the elevator is not even half full, but she can't get in because she got all this stuff. She goes, that's okay. You guys just go. We'll get the next one. I was like, man, there's a whole bunch of people behind you that could have gotten on. So I was like, I'm done with this. So I walked down to the other side because there's 5 elevators. She's blocked 3 of them. And then I hear ding. Now this is the elevator all the way at the end. So I head down there. I get in the elevator. Now I'm holding the button. I'm holding the button with the arrows going this way. You know when you get in the elevator, there's that moment where that button either holds it open or closes it on everyone you know. So I'm over here. I'm trying to figure out the button. I held the button. Now Jacqueline is on her way into the elevator. Keep this in. This is all happening super fast. I'm holding the button. Jacqueline's on her way in. Then I hear somebody yell, "Excuse me." There was a line. Now, we on an elevator. Girl, ain't no line at the elevator. Taxi stand, yes. Elevator, it's called fend for yourself. And it's called, if you got 3 of the elevators blocked at the other side. And anyway, I'm over here holding the button to let everybody in. But she yells. So Jacqueline's on her way in. She yelled, "Excuse me, there was a line." And Jacqueline and I lock eyes. I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me with this. Okay, so I'm done. Jacqueline's backed off. Jacqueline's like, I'll just jump. I'll just jump over the side. I'll go down that way. Like, I'm not going to deal with it. Here's Diane. Don't worry about it. It'll hold all of us. I'm like, I'm about to close this on Diana and everybody. Here's that. Yeah. Elevator Thunderdome is about to go down. Exactly, Lisa. So they come in with their attitude. All that. So now Jacqueline is still outside the elevator. Now, mind you, they get in. My mom and Dean are in. Jacqueline wanted nothing to do with this elevator. She's like, I'm going to stay out here. I said, get in the elevator. I don't want to get in the elevator. Then 6 more people come in and get in the elevator. So here's what I said, we're not going anywhere until that girl gets on this elevator. So y'all better move it back. I'm thinking, oh, you want to, okay. We talking about our tribe. Oh, I had my hoops. So here's now Jacqueline and I are standing like this, staring at each other. She's like, can you believe this? I was like, no, and grandmom's over here. Here's grandmom. Hi, baby. I was like, you don't make friends with the enemy. So it's a big elevator. Yeah. But here's her. No, you guys go ahead. We'll catch the next one. What? When did you become the arbiter of when elevator? So I was like, I need to get away from her and go down here. There's a line. Here's Diana. Who wants a snack? I'm like, Diana, put your game face on. We're in a war. She's like, hi, baby. Okay, fine. I'm like, we need to break away from everyone in the elevator. So we break away. We get down the steps. I'm like, let's just get into the line for our shuttle bus. That's what we need to do. Now, there are at least 10 shuttle buses all going to different places. And there's a man with his wife and 2 kids, right? So we get next to them. But like, same thing. You're like, I don't know where there's a random sign. There's a couple of them. You don't know where the bus is going to come to. I'm thinking, let's just get out of here before the crazy people come. I just don't want to be anywhere in a guy. If they even say, I said, we're the first ones. I'm going to tell you something right now. When that bus comes, and here, don't they start walking towards our bus line? I said, if these ladies get in our bus line. So Jack was like, when that bus comes, I'm going to say, excuse me, there was a line. And my mom's like, who wants a Snicker bar? And I was like, okay. So bus comes. Bus holds, now, just so you know, we waited 15 minutes. Bus pulls up, holds 11 people. We're like, isn't this kind of a big airport? Why do you only hold 11 people? Whatever. I was like, girl, we're gonna be on the front side of this 11. Plus this family that was in front of us. So we get on and everybody's yelling because they didn't get on the bus. Fine. So I was like, let's just wrap this up, just get our car, and we're gonna go. We get there, no lie, there are 80 people in line, 4 cars, and there's 1 teller at the car rental place. 1. We stood there for 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours. So I'm on the phone trying to get my rapid reservation number to work. Nobody's picking up the phone. I don't understand. It's just whatever. So we start taking turns in the line. Now, I have to say that in the 2.5 hours, from what I could tell, not one person lost their mind. Everybody was very calm. There was nothing good about it. Nobody was yelling at the one lady that was there. This poor lady is up there by her name is Chandra. She was real nice. By the time we got up, we were like drunk with just tiredness by the time we got up there. No, it didn't start with an A. So we're taking turns, right? So I had the first shift. I'm on the phone trying to fix this reservation. Nothing's working. Dean came over. He stood in the line, but he got a poor attitude on his face. I didn't look at him. Jacqueline can't stop complaining, is complaining the entire time. And I said, I'm going to need you to go take Dean's spot in the line because I said, so she goes and takes a spot in the line. And then I look over. Now, this was probably an hour and a half in. I look over, okay? There's still 80 people in line because people keep coming and there's 1 car available approximately every 25 minutes. And I look over. Jacqueline has got a group of people and she's telling stories. She goes, oh my God. I look over. She curled her head. Oh my God. Okay. Stark difference from the Jacqueline who 5 minutes prior was like, oh, this is so ridiculous, like that. So I said, look at this bee over here. Look at her holding court over there, making friends. Oh, life at a party. Do you ever watch your kids? The miserable people that they are. And then all of a sudden, you put them in a line. She's like, hey, I'm Jacqueline. What's your name? They friends with everybody. So we're like, great, leave her there. So she did the last hour of the show. She found her people. So by the time I pop in the line, so now she was running her act. The world is her stage. So by the time she gets into the last stretch, because it's one of those curvy lines, she's in the last corner. So I make my way, and now I have to make my way because I'm the one that has the card and my name and the reservation. So now I got to get to her in the line, but everybody's staring at me like this. Where are you going? I said, I'm with the nut job. That's right. That one's mine. I'm not cutting. My son. I have ID if you want me to show, like just to the other people. I was like, I don't want to start a fight here. I just got to get to the nut job over there. She don't have no money. So it's be a waste of time. So I make my way under the turnstiles, right? I get there and there's a single man traveling, older guy. I say older guy, he's my age. Older fellow. Can't really walk, just can barely care for himself. I think we're the same age. And then there's a mom and her 2 daughters. And the daughters, I would say, were probably in their late 20s. So the mom might be a little older than me. So I get over there, Jack, was like, Mom, these are my new friends. I said, yeah, I saw you all from over there. So we start meeting, and so it's Don. And then it was Katie, Pam, the other sister was roaming around. Either way. So we all start chatting, whatever. And so Don's daughter goes to school somewhere in Michigan. So he was going to go out for her lacrosse game, the whole thing. And so we're chatting with him. And I said, well, do you have any other kids? And he tells about his family. He goes, I'm sorry, my wife is texting. She's, asking me what's taking so long. And the way he talked about her, it just sounded like she was really funny. He was like, yeah, she thinks I'm basically an idiot. And da, 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 da. We're like, well, take a picture of all of us and send it to your wife and be like, hey, I made some friends, right? So he's like, oh, that'll be great. So we take a selfie, right? And he sends it. And so he sends it to her. And then nothing happens. And then a couple minutes later, she goes, why do you have to talk to everybody? And then his daughter it was just so funny. He was such a fun guy. Well, so the line keeps moving, right? But now I'm trying to text and try to get some things done. Well, at one point the way the line moved, I was in front of Don. Well, all of them stopped and they were like, where are you going? I said, I was just moving up the line. And they just stared at me, go, I'm not cutting in front of Don. I just am moving. Don, he goes, because Dina, we will arm wrestle. I go, I don't need to arm wrestle. I don't need to wrestle any of the people on the line. It just was so funny. They were lovely. It made the last hour a little bit better. It was just so crazy. Anyway, as we're staying in the line, and we're almost up there, and Jacqueline, now that I'm there, she's a little snippy. And I said, she goes, I've been having a great time. I go, yeah, well, before you weren't, you were complaining. No, I wasn't. That's funny. I said, we have a saying. I said, Jacqueline, I know this is the first time that you're traveling with us, but we have something called the BOS. She's like, what? What's the BOS? I said, well, it's an acronym. Almost every trip that we go on, there's at least one BOS, and you're it. She was like, what does that mean? I said, well, what do you think it means based on your attitude so far? She's like, does that mean of the show? And I go, you're the BOS of the show for this trip. She goes, that's not true. That's not true. That's you. I go, no, it's just you. She goes, have you ever been the BOS? I go, of course I have. Dean's been the BOS. Grandmom's the BOS a lot. But today it's you because you were the only one complaining. Now listen, I highly suggest, and it could be a bot for you, like the BOT, the trip. You can do it, but it should be designated. So that person knows that everybody else is trying to have a good attitude except for you. So Jacqueline, towards the end of this line, I was like, I just want you to know, as of the moment, you're the BOS. And when we got in the car, the B of the show, B of show is what we call it, the BOS. And we have it on every trip. A lot of the times it was Stephanie. But only because a lot of us like, I haven't eaten anything. And I'm like, doesn't matter. You're still it. So we name her, we get the car. Now nothing's open to eat. We finally find like a Lone Star somewhere. There's no waitress. It was like one thing after another to the point. Okay. So now we're at this restaurant. We're at Lone Star. It's like 10 o'clock at night. Like we're not even close to our hotel. Like we're just so tired. We're sitting there for probably 15 minutes. No one has come to our table. And we're starving. And So we're like, does everybody know what they want? Is everybody ready to order? We're like, we're going to be ready, right? Well, the host who sat us, this kid comes over. He goes, guys, I'm really sorry. Your waitress is a little jammed up. But she's going to be here. I just wanted to get you guys started. Can I get you some drinks? We're like, yes. He's like, all right, what can I get you? Dean's like, I just want some water. Joe was like, I want water. I said, I would like a double bourbon neat if you have like a Bullet or a Basil. He goes, I'm sorry. I can't get you alcohol. I said, what? He goes, well, I'm just here for drinks. I go, that is a drink. It's a powerful drink that makes my life better. Could you bring me it? No. I said, you asked what we want to drink. He goes, yeah, but I'm not over 18, so I can't serve that. And at that point, I mentally flipped the table. Like in my mind, I got up and I flipped the table. Now I knew. Now the Dean and Jacqueline were like, Mom, you need to tone it down. Your face when he said he wasn't getting you a bourbon, you need to take it down. I said, I don't understand why you would come. No. And then another waitress comes over. I'm really sorry. Your waitress is late. She'll be right over. 3 waitresses came over. Now about 35 minutes has passed. And I said, can you please bring us some bread? They were like, can you calm down? I go, I can't even eat the bread. The bread is for you, nut job. So you guys calm down. I said, get me out of this. I said, I'm going to go to the bar. Yeah. So I did, Carrie. I flipped the table in my mind. And I said, let me out. I'm going to get myself a drink. So I go over, buy myself a drink. And the guy said, I'm going to bring you back. I'm going to bring you back. Make sure he gets you some bread. I come back to the table. I'm back at the table, bourbon in hand, no food in my system. So I'm well on my way to getting drunk. And I was like, I come back. I go, they all have water. I go, where's the bread? They were like, well, he brought the bread. I go, well, you ate it already? No, it was all burnt. I was just like, okay. I said, is the waitress coming? They were like, you have to take it down. You are being inappropriate. Now, I know that I was the BOS. In that moment, I had taken it. I had ripped it from Jacqueline. And I was happy. I'm fine. And here's the thing, is that when you own being the BOS, it is very empowering. You're like, I am absolutely the BOS right now. And I will use my powers for me because I can't anymore. I'm done with everyone. So then they finally bring bread back, which I can't eat. Then they finally bring some appetizers, which I can't eat. I could have carried, but I didn't want to be a dum-dum. So I was just like, whatever. Yeah, I'm leaning into it. I was like, let me lean into this BOS. But anytime I leaned into it, I was like, can someone please come take our order? Here are the kids. Can you stop right now? You're out of control. I had 2 sips of bourbon. They're like, look at you. You are out of control. I said, I'm asking for anybody in a restaurant to take our order after 30 minutes of waiting. They're like, you got something. I go, just to be clear, I got nothing. I can't eat any of this. Yeah, nothing. Flipping the table. Yeah, I flip the table in my mind about 20 times a day. I'm telling you. So finally, they bring I can have a potato, a nasty salad, fine. So we start eating. Well, for whatever reason, they decide, let's talk about politics. And I thought this was a poor time to do that, especially since I was angry, drunk in the BOS. And so we did. Then we talked about women's rights. And I was like, every time the waitress, so then the waitress finally shows up. This is so great. She's very lovely. The waitress finally goes, guys, I just want to first start by apologizing. I am so sorry. I had a table in the back. They tried to run out without paying. And then all of a sudden, one of them came back and was like, we don't have money. We're going to pay you in cupcakes. So I have been dealing with that situation over there. So I'm really sorry. And I thought to myself, that's horrible. That's a horrible situation. But when you were chasing somebody down to not pay you with cupcakes, There wasn't another waitress that could have been like, don't worry about it. I'm going to take this table for you. You go deal with your cupcake situation. Nobody could have done that. They were like, absolutely not. No, you have to wait for her to fight the people in the parking lot over these. Do you want the cupcakes with the jimmies on it or no jim? Like, I don't know. It feels like someone should have stepped in. I know, Renee. I was like, let's go to the next table over. There's a waitress at that table. And they were like, you better stop. You are so ridiculous. Yeah, the other waitresses were dealing with a cheesecake payment. I mean, Chris, the whole thing was so crazy. The whole thing was so crazy. I need this day to be over. I need it to be over. So we talked about politics, women's rights. I think we chatted about the book, which nobody liked. And then we headed for the car. And on the way to the car, Dean was like, well, listen, now that we got our Thanksgiving conversation over, I think it's going to be a really nice holiday. Like, it was just like, it was like the most stressful dinner situation from like, or just nighttime situation from like 6 o'clock on. Just everybody you talk to was just like, we can't help you. Sorry. Nope, we don't. We're a restaurant, but we don't serve food. We only get paid in cupcakes. And yeah. I'm going to buy tons of cupcakes now and use them as payment. Well, I can't pay for this gas, but would you like a cupcake? No, I don't. The other night at the brewery, a lady wanted to trade groceries in a bag for a beer. No, they weren't that busy. Where was the restaurant? I don't know. Not far from the Detroit airport. It was like the closest place we could go that was still open. Because when you're traveling a lot, especially like, I mean, I don't know. I thought Detroit was kind of a big city. I was like, oh, people will be up. It's not like we were in like the middle of nowhere Midwest. It was like, we're in a major city and everything was closing. And I was like, it's Friday, right? I don't know. It was so crazy. And then we were all in one room. So we're all going to be staying. So there's 2 queen size beds. There's 4 of us. And so the closer, oh, my computer's going to go dead. The closer we're getting to the hotel. Hold on. You guys talk to each other. I got to find this charger. I'm coming. All right, sorry. I'm still like, yeah, there it is. Low battery. You set yourself up for failure. I know, Mandy, but I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm not. Nobody's going to be living the life of Riley on this trip. No one's going to enjoy themselves. Yeah, the closer we got to the hotel, we all started crying. Yeah, you would think so based on how this night is going. But then everybody was like, where's everybody sleeping? So it was 2 beds, but it was like, it was a suite. So it had like a couch that folded out as well. So then everybody was like, who's sleeping with who? I was like, I'm sleeping by myself. I don't want any of you near me. Dean's like, I'm sleeping by myself. He's like, you're going to be on the couch. I was like, you're funny. So Jacqueline, my mom, here's it. No, I thought Jacqueline would be like, I want my own bed. But she was like, Grandma, will you rub my back the whole night and we can cuddle? My mom's like, okay. So they had the best time. Yeah, everyone became the BOS at some point. It was funny. And then we had a great time. The shows in Michigan, the show was great. And it was so lovely. We had a lovely meet and greet. We saw some friendly faces, some new faces, some faces we've seen before. And it was so lovely though. We finished the meet and greet and there was, in a lot of theaters around the country, they're just super connected to the communities there, which is really nice. And lots of the people that work there, the ushers, are volunteers. And so they volunteer to help seat people. In exchange, they get to see the shows for free, or there might be some other incentives for them as well. And so we were heading back into the theater, and we run into this woman, and she was like, "Would you mind if I could get a picture with you?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." And she had the shirt on for the theater. I said, "Do you work here?" She goes, "Well, I'm a volunteer. And I have come to all of the shows that you have brought." Because this was probably at least the third time I've been to Port Huron. It's just a great like theater and community, and people come out for the shows. They're really lovely. And she says, "I have been to every single one of your shows that you've done here. And so when I saw that you were coming again, I signed up immediately. I was like, I'm going. I have to come to the show. So I'm just so excited to be here." Like, she just went on and on. And so we got a picture with her and all four of us. But it was just funny, I don't know. Sometimes, like everybody else, I know Missy and Jeremy probably feel the same way. You're like, nobody's paying any attention to what I do. I live in my own little bubble. But there's a lady in Port Huron who just likes to come to the shows on the regular. So it was nice. Oh, Trisha, good. I'm so glad. My late mother-in-law did that. She passed last year at 94. So many theater people came to the service. It's a great community. Yeah, it's really lovely when they have just kind of these wonderful theaters. I don't think so, Alejandra. She just knows me from the theater. So but it was great. It was it's a beautiful theater, and it's connected to like a big hockey facility, like arena. And so there just happened to be a hockey game happening at the same time. And so they said that a bunch of people, like the men were all going to the hockey game and the women were coming to my show. And so it was nice. So we had a good time. Yeah, that's nice, Judy. It's funny. I do feel somewhat disconnected. I know that, I've definitely had to kind of pare down with shows this past year to just kind of focus on getting the rest of my life together and finishing the book. And so it's been great, but it was nice. It was nice to Dean went up first, then Jacqueline, then me, and then my mom. And so this was the first time that Jacqueline really got to see the show. She's never seen this particular one. So she saw it while it was happening. And then it was funny because there's the screen behind me, right? Well, all the theaters do it a little different when they put the screen up. But sometimes there's a black curtain behind the screen. Sometimes there's something called scrim. And sometimes, most of the time it's solid. Well, this particular scrim that was behind me, if you were in the audience at that show and you were looking at it, you saw a screen and you saw like a white screen behind it, like a white curtain. But if you were on stage and you were behind that white curtain, it's not a solid curtain. You can actually see through it from that side. It's kind of like a two-way mirror. Like when you guys looking at it, it just looks like a white sheet. But if you're on the opposite side, you can see right through it. And so you can see the audience. I noticed it. It's not like that very often, but I noticed it as I was walking to stage, getting ready. I was like, oh, it's this thing, or you can see through it. Well, I'm on stage. Now, one of the things is that we're trying to run the show remotely. So there's a way that I can get this app on my phone and I can make adjustments for what you see, right? So last night was the first time or 2 nights ago, was the first time we were going to run the show off of a remote. But the computer's not far. It's just off stage, right? But I said to Dean, we should probably start trying to use this remote. And so I said, I'm going to run it. And if I mess it up, you can fix it, right? So we're trying to practice not having to necessarily have a tech back there. So I'm up there. I'm in the middle of my set. My set's probably like 50 minutes. And I look down and it says, you are disconnected for whatever reason. It's not hardwired. It's like Wi-Fi. So I was like, well, do I tell Dean? Because I know I have a cue coming up. And so I have to tell him. So I finish some joke, and I look down and I go, by the way, Dean, this thing says I'm not connected anymore. Now, to me, I was trying to do like a low key, let Dean know, give him a high sign. Should have had like a signal, but I didn't. I had to break the fourth wall and just be like, haha, that was funny. By the way, Dean, I'm disconnected. I wanted to do it on the sly. I did. That's exactly what I did. I did it on the sly. Now I'm in the middle of a stage. It's giant theater. And I said, Dean, we're disconnected, just so you know. And then I hear, oh, cursing, but from right behind me. Now I think he's over there manning this computer. And then I realize he's standing or sitting right behind me. So he said him and Jacqueline sat back there and watched the show, basically from the middle of the stage. So that when I was talking to people, like I was talking to Alan in the audience and David, a couple other fellas, Santa Claus. And normally you can't, they can't see who I'm talking to because they're way off stage. You did hear it, Anne-Marie? It was so funny because I said, by the way, Dean, I think I'm disconnected. And I go back and I hear him talking. I can hear he's right behind me. And I was like, yeah, everybody heard you. Everybody just heard what you said. Like, it just was so funny. I was just like, ugh. It's like traveling with the two of them is like traveling with 5-year-olds. You're just like, where are the kids? Has anybody seen the kids? Like that. So, and then I realized that we never took down the step and repeat. It could still be sitting in the lobby. Because that's how organized I am. So it was fine. The way home yesterday was fine. It was quiet. Oh, good, Heather. That'll be nice. But we have a good time. Everybody seemed to enjoy the show. I have a couple weeks off now to finish up the book. I know, girl. She catches that girl. We're supposed to finish that. Go. Shh. We're going to say final touches. She comes like, I don't want to point out when these final touches was supposed to happen. Doesn't matter. Yeah, the return travels, I have no stories. It was very quiet. No, Renee, returning a car is so much easier. Just got out and you run away. So it was quiet. Everybody did fairly well. Jacqueline stole about 10 boxes of Fruit Loops from the hotel. So, yeah. Tracy, I think that anytime you, so Tracy just said, did you say the kids didn't like the book as in your book? So we're talking about the book. We don't talk about it very much, I feel like I just been kind of like working in my little bubble. But as we kind of talk more about, next steps and what happens, trying to just say like, this is what I'm talking about in the book. What do you think about that? They're like, what do you mean that? Like, that's in the book. Like right now I put everything in the book. And I think at some point they'll have to read through it and then we'll discuss like what parts they're comfortable with or not comfortable with or whatever. So it just, it's an interesting, I don't know. Is there a deadline on the book or is it self-imposed? A little bit of both. I have a conference coming up that is very much like where you go to sell. Like last year I went to Glastonbury, which is very much like a writer's conference. And this one is a writer's conference, but it's also like a sales conference. So I have some meetings with some publishers. And so that's in November. So it's a little self-imposed and it's a little like hard deadline. And I feel like, because I had to stop doing so much stand-up, like for me, I was like, I need there to be like a somewhat definitive end for this. Like I need to close this chapter, so to speak. and feel like, well, I did it. I don't know if anyone's ever going to see it or if it'll ever see the light of day, but the book's almost finished, Cindy. I have like 67,000 words. But like, I think I need to finish a couple of chapters and then just really work on like I'm really good at writing funny. And I tend to lean towards that. But the book is about what it's like going through, divorce and death of a parent and empty nesting and menopause and all of these things that just kind of all happen at the same time, which are not necessarily that funny. And so to just make sure that that it has a point, and that I do kind of spend enough time talking about that part of it, the hard part of it. But as well, I'm not concerned about the funny part. I think the funny parts are there. I worry that people are going to be like, oh, this is going to be a book that's like going to like be really helpful for people going through midlife crises. And then you just laugh the whole time. But maybe that's better. I don't know. Now that you've finished with the writing, have you found it to be very therapeutic? Yes, Janet. I will say, I think it's really funny to have started the book last year, which was the 1-year anniversary of my divorce. And I wrote about a lot of the heavy things when I was in Glastonbury. Just, it was time to just, talk about my dad, talk about the divorce, talk about all of that. So I feel like I wrote a lot of the heavy stuff last year and then started to write a little bit more of the funny things. And then I went back and revisited the things that I wrote last year. And I think it's good that it's taken a year to write it, because I think that where my head was then and where my head is now, I think not always One Funny Mother was Bill's suggestion. Oh, that's a good one. So I think that, I don't know. I used to be somebody that like wrote in a diary when I was younger, which we now know Jacqueline is reading as if it's a novel. She's like, oh my gosh, whatever happened to that guy that you dated? I'm like, okay, why are you reading my diaries? But I don't know that I would have taken the time to write everything down. That was kind of going through my head. I don't know. I actually think more now that I was like, I should get back into therapy. Just now that like you're writing stuff down, and as you write it, you're like, I didn't even know I did that. I didn't even know that I was reacting to things this way. That I think the most surprising part of writing this is realizing how much PTSD I have from certain experiences and how that affects me moving forward, and trying to be really aware of it, that I do it, and not put that on other people, and trying to learn something about myself and how I function. I don't know. Yeah, it is funny. I know, Tara. I was in therapy all through I would say for about a year and a half of the 2 to 3 years that were awful. There was a year and a half when everything was going, not great. And Kim was the name of my therapist, and she was lovely. But yeah. And now it's funny because we got to the point, and she's like, well, listen, you seem like things are going well. And I was like, yeah, no, things are going well, and then I wrote a book, and I'm like, I think things are really bad. I think we need to call Kim. But I think the biggest part is just, how important it is, I think, to have a community and to have your group of people and people that get you, which is why I do think that writing books about this time of life are so necessary. And I think finding the funny in it is so necessary, because I think a lot of it's not funny. And I think I'm a therapist named Kim. Call me if you need me. Oh, I might. I think it's important to find the funny, and I think it is important to, really think about, where you are and what parts you contributed to getting yourself here. And I have PTSD from my divorce without a doubt. Yeah. And I think it's important to really unpack all of those triggers so that you learn how you act or overreact to things. Like there are even things now that I overreact to because they're just bringing back something that had nothing to do with the person that I'm with now. And I have to really think about it and then, be with somebody that is willing to like talk to me about it and be like, okay, so I didn't think I did anything wrong. I'm like, I don't think you did either, but my whole body says you did. But I know you didn't. I know it's me, like it's, yeah, I think it's important to talk about. I think all of us have triggers. I think death is even easier than divorce for me. Yeah. Yeah, I was doing both of them at the same time between my dad and my divorce. So yeah, I think that now where I am, I think, like I said, I think I wrote the funny parts. I think I wrote some of the hard parts. But just really trying to really think about how to put the book together, because I just feel like there were so many bad things that happened all in such a short amount of time that if I wrote it in chronological order, which is what it's written as now, I don't know that anybody's going to get to the really funny parts. I'm like, no, there's some I would say like a third of the book in, it's not great. Not a lot of good things happen. But then from that point on, it's kind of ridiculous. Yeah, Alexis, I get it. Well, that's the other thing. I think it's important to talk about, a big part of the book is about starting over and what that looked like for me, and perhaps maybe some of the ridiculous things I did during the time that I was starting over that might not have been great, but they're funny. And empty nesting. Yeah, it was all happening, Jen. I don't have a lot of forethought. But when I made the video, when I had kind of announced the divorce, I remember saying in the divorce, like just feeling like every part of who I was just being stripped away. My dad had died. I was divorced. All the kids had moved out. It was like every title I had for myself, daughter, wife, mom, and everybody's like, your kids are never going to leave. I'm like, oh, I know. But at the moment they had, and it was a lot. And I feel like any one of those things you could write a book about, but because they were all happening at the same time, it was a lot. And so I did, Carol. So, yeah, Tracy, I get it. So anyway, Robin said, I had 2 divorces, no PTSD here, living a dream. How did the kids react to the divorce? They all reacted really differently, which is another thing I talk about in the book. Because I think, everybody says, when you look at kids, they're all so different, and they all did react really different. They all reacted really different when I started dating as well. And I talk about that. And I think that, those are real parts. Those are all real parts of moving on. And, I think that's the part that we kind of discussed the other night, is like, how real do you want to get in this book? And there's lots of things that I kind of touch on that I think a lot of people don't talk about. And, and I think it's the same with my stand-up and some of the stories that we've told. My kids like, why are you telling people that? I'm like, because everybody is going through the same fights. Like when I would talk about fights would have with Jacqueline's like, why do you say these things and these fights that we're having? I'm like, A, because you're 13 and you're horrible. And B, because everybody with a 13-year-old is having the same exact fight as us. And she's like, well, you make me sound horrible. I'm like, you're all horrible. You're a horrible person. I said, and I was horrible when I did it to my mom. I said, but you tell people because it makes people realize Yes, we're going to fight. Yes, you're 13. And sometime around the age of 22, you'll be kind to me again, and we will have a great time until you're the BOS at the rental car place. And I just think that, there are, I feel the same way about kind of where we are. Yeah, going through 13-year-old fights right now, and they're not fun. Mm-hmm. Yeah, my kids were young when I got divorced, so they acted really different. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that that's all a real part of it. I think that, you can have, two of your kids who are like, okay, I see why this went down the way it did. And I think you did the best thing for yourself. You can have one kid that just hates you for it for a long time. And that's not easy, and you realize that, there are things that happen in a divorce that you never want your kids to know about, and they shouldn't know about. And so they might not understand it. And then there are other situations where your kids know a lot of stuff that they also shouldn't know. And that's also another sad reality. So, and then there's the funny things that happen. So, anyway, so I think I'm at the point where I'm just trying to make it so that when you're reading it, you're not getting too far down the hole and not too funny that you're missing kind of, these bigger pictures. And then you get pellets, girl. Yeah. And then just the pellets added a whole flavor to the story. Anita, yeah. So anyway, so I got to go write that, finish writing it, but thanks for being here today. And, always, last night we started with Voila Cooking with Di. Pasta Vazul was so good. It turns out Diana's going to do this whole season of Cooking with Di, as you look at her back. So she didn't actually show anybody. She just announced the ingredients. It's a different kind of cooking show. It's like come watch us, but then you got to guess what we're talking about. And but the pasta vazul was good. The recipe is up on the main page. And so, yeah, that's it. Everybody, that's all of our stuff for today. And I'm going to try my best to be on time this week. I did not had a day off in, 10 days. So that's why I'm moving a little slow today. But that... yeah, I have a mortgage. Exactly. So that's it. So like Judy from Saskatoon and Good Time Andrea say, do something nice for yourself or others. And thanks for watching. As always, have a great day and a blessed day. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. All right. Have a good one. Bye.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed today's morning show, make sure to follow us for more One Funny Mother content.
Okay, all right. Morse code is tapping.
And check out OneFunnyMotherStore.com for great new inappropriate swag. And for more exclusive content, consider becoming a supporter.
She got a bad leg.
Thanks again, and we'll see you tomorrow on One Funny Morning.